everybody. Welcome to the Open Tabs podcast. My name is Joe.
I'm Billy.
And we are excited to be joining you on, well, not the eve, but whatever after the eve is, like a couple of days after the 250th anniversary of America being a country. They call that, ready for it? I think I can get this out in one breath without messing it up. Semi-quincentennial. The semi-quincentennial.
Gazoon-tight.
Yeah, thank you. Which just basically means 250. You know, you think they could have just come up with something that just meant 250, like, I don't know, 250. But that's what they did, semi-quincentennial. Billy, what'd you do for your 4th of July?
Well, on the 4th itself, I was stuck in my apartment because the Atlanta Peachtree Road race closes Peachtree Road, where I live, from 5:30 a.m. till 3 p.m. So if you don't get out of the building before 5:30 a.m., you're stuck there all day. But the day before, Friday, the 3rd, I went to a friend's house for a cookout, and we had a cookout all day. We had a delicious brisket, and we did the the home launched fireworks in the yard. And it was a good time.
Awesome. I love that. You know, I'm surprised you didn't take my advice. You could have just gone out with a couple of Roman candles and chased the Peachtree Roadrunners out of the driveway. So you could have gotten your car down the road. I don't know.
Do you know every year they have 60,000 runners and they cap it at 60,000? That's what I heard from my buddy.
Crazy.
My buddy yesterday, who was one of the runners.
I have a friend that was a runner too.
50-something years they've done it every July 4th in Atlanta.
That's, I mean, good on you, Atlanta, for having a tradition that promotes health and wellness. I mean, let's be frank, Atlanta's not known for health and wellness. We're known for like grits and hash brown smothered, covered and smothered. So, I mean, to have a Peachtree Road race where people, you know, who typically are just pounding biscuits and gravy in the morning are running, I think that's a good thing.
Now, you know, I am actually, if you can believe this, I am actually registered to participate in a 5K this coming Saturday.
Are you really?
Yeah, I say participate because I ain't running. Okay. I will be walking with some folks, but it is it's a unique thing. It's called the Night Nation Run. So it's pretty smart. Somebody had the idea of combining a 5K with an outdoor music festival.
Really?
And it's at night. Yeah. So there's a 5K path, and all along the way, there's DJs with live music and different stations and sections for selfies and lasers and bubbles and all this stuff. And everyone's wearing bright, glowing clothing and glow-in-the-dark body paint and glow sticks and all kind of fun stuff. And at the end of the 5K is the main stage with the headliner DJs that will do their set for the evening. And so that's in the old Turner Field Stadium, which then became the Georgia State University Stadium, which is now called Center Park Stadium, I think. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So that's no, Turner Field was the field. I was thinking of Georgia Dome, which is now something else. Okay, so have you ever done or heard of a mud run?
I think I've seen pictures, but no.
Yes. So my family, not me, because mud is my worst enemy. My family actually did a mud run, all of them, and they came home and I wouldn't touch them for a week because they were covered in mud from a horse park, and that's never the kind of mud you want to be covered in. But there's a mud run in Conyers that just completed 2 weeks ago, I think. And my family, they didn't do it this year. They did it last year. But it's funny because they have you run through all of these muddy obstacles. You like swing over a rope and into a mud pit, and you know, you climb out. It's gross.
Wise man say, man who throws dirt loses ground.
Ooh, hey, that's actually better than the one I was thinking you were going to say, which had to do with going to bed. Never mind. Anyway.
And mud spelled backwards is dumb.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. That's a good one. So the mud run, it's gross. And then at the very end, I suppose as a consolation prize, they have you run through one of those giant bubble walls. Have you seen these, the soapy bubble walls?
Is this supposed to
It
clean off the mud?
I don't know, but you'd run through that, and then I think they will spray you off at the end, I guess. I don't know, but it's
Oh,
gross,
man.
man. And then there's mud in your car when you go home if you don't, like, put, trash bags over
Yeah.
your seats or something. I
Then
don't
you'll be sad, and sad spelled backwards is das, and
That's
das
right.
not good.
That's not good. That was good. I like it.
Sorry. Where are we going with this?
Oh, boy. Anyway, long story short, apparently, Georgia, the Atlanta area, is big on running. That's a thing, I guess. I don't know. My son's cross country coach was in the Peachtree Road Race. He does it every year with his kids, and his kids are all in cross country, obviously. And they love it. They think it's great. That's a fun
Yeah.
time for them.
One that would be fun, I don't know if they still come and do it every year, but where they throw the colorful powder, which takes from the Indian holiday that happens, I think, in March every year.
Holy.
Yeah. But
Yep.
you get covered in all the colorful powder as you're running. That would be fun, too.
That would be fun. We actually we do that every summer at our church, at our youth group, not for
cool.
religious reasons, but we have like a color war. We run around and throw those the dyed powders at each other. It's pretty fun and also messy. I don't like messy, if I'm being honest, Billy. I'm not a fan of like being covered in color or being covered in mud.
I think I dig it. I think I dig it. As long as I have the warning, so I have a change of clothes or whatever, I think I dig it.
So I have a traumatic experience, and here's why. So I think you were already graduated high school by this time. I was a senior in high school, and we took the middle schoolers to camp. And at this camp, we decided we were going to do a big mud pit tug of war thing, right? And so everybody in this camp was covered in mud. Like all the kids, some of the leaders, we were leaders, some of the leaders were covered in mud. And we get back to this dormitory, domicile, kind of like main camp area, and the power has gone out. And the camp is not anywhere where there's like a regular city water. So all the water is well water. And now you've got like 75 people who need showers and can't take them because there's no water to pump. There's no wells to pump the water into the bathroom.
So it's like an electric pump that's needed to get the water. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And no hot water, of course, because there's no power. And so then me and one of the other counselors, we actually went and bathed in a freezing cold creek on the side of the road in this camp in wherever we were. I can't even remember now. And from that moment, the idea of having mud on me in any way, shape, or form has been very traumatic. It triggers
so you can trace it back to that event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, church ministry will give you PTSD. I'll just tell you that right now. There's no PTSD
there's worse
like
things
church ministry PTSD.
There's worse things to be triggered by, but that's still no fun because getting dirty can be fun. I think. That's all in the way of introduction. So to tease the episode a little bit, we're gonna talk to you, Joe, about some personal news, and then we're gonna let AI write a ridiculous song or two.
Okay.
I've been playing with AI recently with music, and we're both somewhat of musicians, I would say. So that will be interesting or fun or something
weird. Yeah, it'll be something.
And we brought back a fake sponsor.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a sponsor. Yeah. Actually, this is weird because it's a sponsor that I do pay for, so we'll get into that. Which is weird. I have to think of it.
So stay tuned throughout. We've got a crazy
this is
episode
sponsored,
lined up.
not sponsored by the company, but it is something I actually pay for, which is ridiculous. All right,
there you have it. So yeah, let's jump right in. So tell us, Joe, what happened recently that you'd like to share?
Well, Billy, all good things must come to an end, and even some things that are mid must come to an end. The week before, at the very end of the week before last, I found out that the company that I worked for had a 10% reduction in force, and that my territory that I supported was merged with another territory, and my position was eliminated. Now, what's interesting about this situation, for those of you that don't know, I am kind of I'm a student of communication in the sense that I have become very good at being intuitive about things that may be, or things that people are saying when they're trying not to say things, or things that people are saying when they're not saying anything. And so, I mean, I don't think I'll get them in trouble, but I realized towards the beginning of June that my boss was sending signals that something was going to happen.
Yeah, I remember you
And
bringing it up too. I mean,
yeah,
absolutely, you had some of these red flags that other folks would certainly have just glanced right past, I think.
yeah, yeah, things that most people would just chalk up to, oh, there's something wrong with him, or it's stress or whatever. And I just kind of had this weird, like, no, that's a really significant shift in his behavior. There's something deeper. And so I actually had started applying for new roles and looking for new roles about 2 weeks before I found out, a week and a half before I found out. And actually, I'm in final stage interviews with one company, and I'm in a couple of other stages of interviews with other companies. So, all that to say, I was not blindsided, which is really actually, I think, a blessing in disguise, because I have been blindsided before, and that can be really, really difficult. Um, like, it's one of those things, and I've started talking about this a little bit on LinkedIn, how I think you can get lost in translation a little bit when things happen. And so when this happened to me in my previous life, or in another career, I realized that I was blindsided, but then I looked back on these events that had taken place and I thought, "Oh, yeah, okay, I get it. They were always planning this, or they had been planning this for 6 months. They were just trying to get all of the information they could out of me before they did it." And that's not what happened in this recent case, thankfully. This was definitely like a back against the wall. Company had to make a decision. I respect it. It's not the decision that anybody wants to make. But you know, whatever. You get into a situation, you make mistakes as a company, and you can't back out of it, and then you have issues. So, I saw that, saw the writing on the wall, and I was thankful I did. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like this, but I feel I feel grateful that I had the foresight to start putting my name out there, putting myself out there before anything happened. But honestly, when you look at a situation like this where a company does a full scale reduction in force, 10%, 15%, even 5% of their staff, right? The thought of somebody who did not get reduced has to be, am I in the next round? If this doesn't turn it around, which sometimes it does, often, unfortunately, it does not, am I in round two? And so just sitting there waiting to know, is there going to be round two if we don't turn this around, and am I in it, has to be really unnerving and difficult. And I am fortunate that I don't have to, luck of the draw, I don't have to be in that position. You know what I mean? What do you think? Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Yeah, yeah. So, and thankfully, I have never been. Let's just say the word laid off. But I remember in the big crash of 2008, my company at the time had multiple rounds of layoffs, and they also froze all of the annual increases for everyone across the board. And they were pretty transparent and open and honest, and basically saying, folks who are getting cut, it's if we don't cut them, everybody's going to lose their job. Everybody. So they've got to make difficult decisions. But of course, you have to, I would think what constitutes a person being kept or dropped, and it's not skill set. I mean, it could be that they're just too expensive. They could be really, really skilled and have tenure and have seniority, but they're too expensive.
Mhm.
So it's not even saying like, "Oh, well, I'm okay because I'm not the newest hired," or, "Oh, I'm okay because I've been here the longest." You couldn't count on any of those things.
Yeah.
And they would say, "Well, this is it. This is the last round for the year." And then a few months later, well, we had to do some more. And so, yeah, it's tricky. Joe, what was, even though you kind of felt like you saw it coming, what was your first reaction when you found out?
Um, I am a people person. Sorry, give me a second. I am a people person. And, so honestly, my first reaction was, "Oh, man, this must have been really hard for my boss." Because
Wow.
he is not, um he's just a really good person, and I get now why he was behaving the way he was, and he wasn't intentionally behaving a certain way. Like, I had thought that he had lost faith in me, but I think when I look back on it now, I realize he just knew it was inevitable. And there was literally, he was put under an amount of pressure that it was for all intents and purposes an impossible situation. There was nothing he could have done differently. There was nothing I could have done differently. This was something that had been mounting since before I started. I was the newest on the team, so it had been mounting since before I started. Um, I don't think he was made aware of it or the stakes of it until June 1st, basically.
Mm,
And so in June 1st, when he was made aware of the stakes, there was nothing he could have done, because I think if he had been aware of the stakes when he brought me into the team, he probably wouldn't have done that, because I know
right.
him. And I think he probably would have said, "No, don't do this. You need to stay where you're at." Because honestly, if I had stayed where I was, the likelihood is I probably would have kept my job. I wanted something more. I wanted to be moving into a different direction. I wanted to be making more money. So I was willing to take that risk. Um, but the thought was there that, like, hey, if this doesn't work out in 6 months, I guess I could probably always apply back to a different role within the company. And that just kind of evaporated pretty quickly. Um, but that was my first thought was, oh gosh, now I get it. This has been torture for him. My second thought was, hey, I've got 3 or 4 deals that are supposed to close in the next 3 days.
Hmm.
You guys need to get in touch with these people and go get these deals closed.
So
Because,
it's interesting. Some of your initial thoughts are not even about you or your family. It's about the company and about your manager. That's
well,
amazing.
candidly, I saw the writing on the wall. So I had already started looking at other opportunities. And this is something I'll say just to any startup, any company, any manager. You cannot hide the the consequence of mass layoffs are coming, unless you are a psychopath or a sociopath. You cannot hide this. It is there. It is evident. People can tell it's coming, and they're preparing their resumes. I even remember saying, I was on the phone with another coworker, like the second of the month, and we'd had this really crazy meeting. And I told the other coworker, I said, "Do you realize that meeting, literally every person who is cautious or has been at a startup before is literally got off that meeting and started looking at their resume and popped onto LinkedIn to find new jobs."
Yeah, of course.
Because you cannot have an interaction or response or communication that is tied up in this potential, even if it seems like a potential inevitability. It is so evident. It is so visible, and there's no, I mean, it's not a blindside at that point, because you just can't hide it unless you are unless there's something wrong with you physically. If there's something broken in your
Mm,
brain, I don't think you can hide it. And
yeah.
and he couldn't, which is, I mean, good for him. He's a good person. I get it. And I love him to death. He's a I consider him a friend. Um I think he's a great leader. I hope he doesn't get kind of like chewed up in this whole situation and just torn up and think he's not good at what he can do, because he's a fantastic leader who's just been put in an impossible situation.
Yeah.
And I think you have to choose the kind of leader you're going to be. And sometimes that choice is removed and you have to just toe the line because you've got your own family, you've got your own things to support.
And that's the thing, part of being a leader, especially if you're working for a large company, is that you have to deliver a message or you have to keep something quiet that as a person you don't agree with, but your role as that leader in that position, you're given a directive and you have to put that hat on and speak on behalf of the company or be quiet on behalf of the company. And that's hard. We had a round of layoffs at my current company about 3 or 4 years ago. And one of the folks on my team was cut. And it happened to be a day that all of us were going into the office. This is post COVID, going into the office anyways, just coincidentally. And I remember walking in the office and my manager was in tears. And we went into a conference room and she had just found out half an hour earlier that one of us was cut. And nobody told her in advance or gave her a chance to plead his case or anything like that. And he was the newest, but he'd been with us a year. Him and his wife had just had a child weeks earlier, and she was in tears. So it does impact leaders and managers on that side of the equation as well.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing, man. And so speaking of which, having a wife and 4 kids for you, that's got to change the equation quite a bit compared to someone like me who's just living on my own.
It does. Yeah. And to be honest, like, we were not in the best situation to begin with. So it does create a lot of fear and uncertainty. And
Yeah.
I think it pulls that security blanket out from under your family. Now, my wife is a champion at this point. We had somebody pray for us before we got married, and man, I'm still mad at him a little bit about it. When he prayed for us, he said, "Hey, I just feel like you guys have to get used to living paycheck to paycheck." And I was like, "Dude, why you got to speak that over us? Come
Right.
on, like, could you you guys need to be prepared to have more money than you know what to do with? Could you have said that? No, apparently not." Uh, and for the most part, other than I think there was a stint for about 4 or 5 years where we were pretty comfortable. That's been our life, and so she's kind of a veteran at it, but it's still very difficult. Um, we had kind of thought, hey, this new job, gosh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to provide so much opportunity that, I ran all the numbers and I looked at all of the opportunity that was supposedly in the territory. And I thought, man, this is it. And even this month, or in the month of June, I didn't have it all forecasted because it wasn't for sure, but I had all these items that were going to be closures in a territory that I knew I was losing come July 1st. They were taking a part of my territory off July 1st. So I was trying to close these 3 big deals in the panhandle of Florida. And man, I was right on the cusp. I was within, I would say, like a day or two. I was within like 4 hours of closing one. I was within probably 48 hours of closing the other two. And that would have been 125% of my goal for the month.
Man,
And so
you're just
I was
getting
just getting there.
yeah,
I was
your
just
sea
about to
legs.
see that. And I was like, oh, I'd been doing it 10 weeks, And so I was like, okay, I'm ramped. I'm good. I know what I need to do. And I was just there right within reach. And then it pulled and I was like, oh crap. Like, talk about
Yeah.
timing. But at the end of the day, here's what I'll say about all of it. Um, I I have been fortunate to have uh, just grown up with a mom who is full of faith, with
Mm.
a wife who is full of faith, and uh, and I know that even if it's hard, at the end of the day, like, we're gonna be okay. And never have I seen more evidence of that than in the last week, where I've had I've had a former colleague call me and say, "There's nobody else's resume I want from that company but yours. Please send it to me
Wow.
immediately."
That's a good feeling.
I've had this job that to me has been unattainable, impossible, open up, and I'm in round 3 interviews this Friday, and and honestly, dude, it's like it's the dream job. I can't really say anything about it, but it's the dream job. It's like everything that I could possibly want in a company and an opportunity, um, right there. And then I have this other job. That's something I would never have even thought of considering, that I don't even know that much about, but I know that it would be such a huge fit for my skill set. And like all these things just kind of like showing up, um, without a whole lot of, I mean, some effort. Obviously, it's not no effort, but without a whole lot of effort on my part, just really focusing in. And honestly, too, tomorrow and the next day, I'm actually going on the road, and I'm finally at a place in my career and in my confidence level that I know I could go add value to a customer site, and I could go sell me as a consultant to a customer, a potential customer, and go out and make $300 to $500 a day. And so that's my next focus, is actually in the next couple of days. Call it a side hustle, call it what you will, but just driving out to some of these contacts I have and saying, "Hey, I'm not there anymore, but I still want to help you. Can I help you with X, Y, and Z? $500, $1,000, whatever it is," and just kind of try and get some consulting in the interim, and build out a little bit more, because I think ideally, by the time you get to the stage in life that I'm in, you have more to offer than just working, right?
Yeah.
And just like you were talking about your side hustle on the area that you're really skilled, right? We all have that by the time we hit our 40s. Like there's something that we're probably pretty darn good at that we can go help somebody else figure out, or we can go do for somebody else, or show somebody else, or provide for somebody else. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying my hand
So
at that
so
in the
how
next
do
couple
you
of days.
feel optimistic,
I
generally
do,
speaking?
actually. Optimistic, and not just optimistic. I think, like I said before, if I had not been cut, I think it would have been worse, because I would be dreading the next round. And I even said, I had so many people text me, and I said, just get your resume ready. And if you hear anybody in leadership refer to it as a round of layoffs, start applying like crazy. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud publicly, but that is the truth. Like if you're in that situation and you hear a leader say round of layoffs, what that means typically is they don't anticipate this being the final one or the only one. But so I tell everybody, we are all free agents. We're all independent agents. Most states are at will states. I will say that, was my company managed? What was the leadership? Did the leadership make good decisions? No. If they had, we wouldn't have been in the place we were in. That's flat out the truth. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing an individual can do that creates a situation where you have to lay off 10% of your workforce. That is a failure of leadership, period. End of sentence. Anybody who says it's not is smoking something. If you have to lay off your workforce, you failed as a leadership, period. And I hope people will that resonates with leaders and they don't get defensive, because that's the truth. If you're in a leadership position where you learn the morning of that you're going to have to lay people off, you're not at the level where you're responsible for what has happened.
True that.
If you knew it was coming, if you got some forewarning a month or 2 months in advance, or you have some sort of direct connection to the board, or one step down, you are the reason that layoff occurred. It is not your employees. And laying off your employees is probably not going to fix it. It's a failure of leadership. And you need to start laying off leaders who aren't performing. Period. The problem is, I will tell you, the problem is most of the time, the leaders who aren't performing are the people who get to decide who gets laid off.
That's true. That is true. It's funny how that works. There's we've talked about this before. There's a little bit of attention sometimes for a person of faith that says, well, I think I want to trust the Lord to provide, but I've got to do something. I've got to do something. Which is it? Do I trust the Lord to provide and just wait on him? Or do I work hard and get out there and get on LinkedIn and send my resume and go? Which is it? And there's a verse that kind of captures the two in attention, that it's not one or the other, but it's both and it comes from the Old Testament. And it is from Proverbs. It says, the horse is prepared for the day of battle, but deliverance is of the Lord.
Oh, that's good.
It's both. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, meaning I've done my part. I'm not sitting around watching YouTube and movies and eating junk food all day. I've done my part. I've prepared. I've got the horse ready for battle. I've trained. I've prepared. But I realize that the outcome, the deliverance, is from the Lord. I've done my part, and now that I've done my part, I'm trusting the outcome. I can't control the outcome. I can control my output, but I can't control the outcome. So I'm going to do my part, and then I'm going to rest and say it's from the Lord when he provides. It's both. I love that. I love that verse.
It's funny. Last weekend, I was at a men's breakfast event, and I was talking about kind of where I was. And one of the guys said, he looked at me and he goes, maybe this role that you just stepped into is like a transition. Like, you've been put in this place because there's something else for you, and you have to be here for that to happen. And 3 days later, 4 days later, 5 days later, I get a call that says, hey, your position's been eliminated. And I'm like, well, I hope that's the case. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's what it is. And I will say this, that reminds me of an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, one of my favorite TV shows as a kid, where there's a guy in a hospital bed and he's talking to Chuck Norris, which has to be good. He's talking to Chuck Norris and he says, how come this happened to me? Why, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And Chuck Norris told this story, and it's not a Chuck Norris story. It's an anybody story. But he said, there's a man who prayed all the time that he would win the lottery. He prayed forever and ever and ever that he would win the lottery. And he never won the lottery. And he gets to heaven. He goes, how come I never won the lottery? And the Lord looks back at him and he says, well, for starters, you never bought a ticket to the lottery. And it's kind of one of those, like, it's not a real proverb, but God only helps those who help themselves, which is not true. That's not biblical. But the horse is prepared for battle. The horse has to prepare for battle at all times. And I love that. That's such a good reminder. And I would say to anybody working right now, like, there's three pieces of advice I've gotten over my career from very, very great leaders. Actually, it's funny. 2 of the pieces of advice always came from the CEOs of the company I was working for. So the first CEO that I worked for, when I started to transition to a role outside of the leadership team and out into the field with the company that I worked for, the CEO brought me into his office. He said, hey, I heard you're transitioning. I get the reasons why. I want you to know that you work for Joe LeClaire. He said, you work for Joe LeClaire, because I was known as the like culture guy. Like, our colors were blue and silver, and people would always say that guy bleeds blue and silver. Like, I was known as culture guy, and he brought me in and he said, listen to me very carefully. You work for you. You work for Joe LeClaire. Don't get it twisted. You work for Joe LeClaire. And I remember when I was about to leave that company, I called him. It was probably 10 months later. I called him after I'd been in the field for a while. And I said, hey, this isn't working. And I got another offer. He said, what did I say to you in my office the week before you left? I said, you said I work for me. And he said, that's right. You don't need to worry about us. We'll figure it out. You go work for you. You go do what you need to do. And so it's just a really, that was one piece of advice. And I would tell that to anybody. Hey, at the end of the day, we're all free agents. That's actually the second piece of advice, which was given to me by a recruiter. at a company I worked for. He said, listen, at the end of the day, we're all free agents. And when something better comes along, if you feel like it's what you're supposed to do, just go do it. You may be influential, you may be capable, you may be a key contributor, you may even be a top contributor, but at the end of the day, that's a business, and they will carry on, or they won't. But at the end of the day, you're a free agent. You got to go do.
And what kind of loyalty are they going to feel towards you?
Right.
Is there any loyalty from a business to an employee nowadays anyways? I don't know.
The third piece of advice I got from probably one of the most practical CEOs I've ever met. He's so brilliant. And I mean, both of the CEOs that I'm talking about are brilliant people. They're people who I consider mentors and friends, people who I would talk to, have no problem reaching out to today for any reason. The other one, he said, you've got to know your value, so go shop yourself. And he actually had this policy: if you're going to ask for a raise, you need to go interview for another job and see if you can get that somewhere else. Because if you can get that somewhere else, then I'll know, okay, that's worth it.
That's risky. That's risky advice.
But you know what?
You might get something better than that and leave.
Maybe. But that company I would have taken, I made less money than probably my position warranted, but I loved that company so much, and I loved that job, and I loved the leadership. And so I was good with it. He was what I would call, and he's even said this, he was what I would call a benevolent employer, where his true focus was, he knew that if he took care of his employees, that profitability would always be there. And sure enough, it has been. They've grown significantly over the years because he's always been good at taking care of the people that work for him. So learnings from that situation, I just think everybody's a free agent. Everybody needs to make sure they're building their own personal brand within any space that they're in. Yeah. And you have to be able to say, I love what I'm doing. And I naturally tie to really good ideas, really good products, really good people. But at the end of the day, you have to be mindful and keep that small little piece of you aside to say, if this isn't working, it's not good for either of us. And I need to be able to feel free to move on or test the waters outside of that. And I think that's really the key to success, because any company that has somebody who's in there half-heartedly, they're not going to have the right person in that seat, no matter how good they are, or how much they love it. Because if they're not happy, they're probably not the right fit.
Yeah.
If they're not extraordinarily passionate about who you are, about your brand, about what you're doing, and if they can't believe in what you're doing, then they're probably not the best fit for who you are, for your company. That's just at the end of the day, that's the truth of it.
Well, it sounds like you've got your head in a good place, and I appreciate you being updated, open and sharing with everyone. And you've got the support of your family and your friends and the listeners here. So we'll see how it goes. Your attitude is encouraging to me, and it's also a reminder to all of us that none of us are immune from something like this happening. So it's good to be prepared and to not let it break us or crumble us if and when it does happen, but to just roll with the punches. So
absolutely.
Well, that's enough. Yep, that's enough adulting. Let's transition to doing something completely ridiculous.
Okay.
But before we do, what are your candid thoughts on AI as it relates to creating any type of music or art in general? What are your...
I've had some experiences with this.
Okay.
It's interesting. I've heard some pretty crazy things, and here's what's crazy to me is I find myself literally questioning everything now. Like, is this a guy who knows how to write a song? Is this somebody who just told AI to do it? Is the AI creating the video? Or are they creating the video? And I never know if I believe what's going on anymore.
And we already had this for years and years, where we'd have famous artists that we'd find out they can't hold a tune, but in post-production, the recording studio would pitch perfect their vocals and that type of thing. And to what extent is the human artist versus the technology? Like, is there a line that you cross where it's no longer the human that's like gets the credit for the artistic production? In any event, we're going to play around with an AI music generator. Now, I played with one last year that was okay, but this one I like a lot better. It's called TAD, T-A-D. No affiliate, no sponsorship. There's not even an affiliate link if I wanted to share one. We're just going to play with it for fun. So while I'm pulling the screen up, Joe, what kind of song should we together live right now write with this AI music generator? What do you think?
Well, I think we're in Atlanta, right? There's really two options. It's country and rap, country and hip hop.
We ain't doing no country. Not on my dime, sir. Not on my watch.
So I guess hip hop is the option then.
Okay,
let's not go gangster. Let's go hip hop, I guess.
Hip hop it is. All right. So is it what is it going to be? Song about the podcast? Is it going to be something about what's the topic? What's the subject? What are we going to work
on? Let's see here. Why don't we talk about something that is near and dear to my heart? How about the number of micro distilleries and micro breweries in Atlanta and Georgia?
What? Okay.
You may not know this, but there's a significant number over the past 10 years of micro distilleries, and I'm trying to make it hard, by the way, of micro distilleries and micro breweries in Atlanta. There's Orpheus Brewing, there's Old Fourth Ward, there's
is this a song anybody's going to want to listen to?
Maybe not. I don't know. What do you want to write about?
How about let's do a theme song for the podcast. How about that?
Oh, okay, let's do that. Okay.
Let's just do that. This is going to be a theme song about our podcast called the Open Tabs Podcast, co-hosted by Billy and Joe. Now let's talk about Joe first. What do we want in the song, Joe, to talk about your characteristics or things about you, things you like?
We could say that I have a salt and pepper goatee and no hair on my head.
Just like that, Joe has a salt and pepper goatee.
More salt than pepper these days.
And bald up top. He's a husband and father of 4. How many pets do you have?
We have 48 as of this moment.
Oh my gosh, Joe has 48 pets. Good grief, man.
And 12 of them are reptiles.
12 of them are...
No, I'm sorry, 14 of them are reptiles.
Oh my lord, 14 of them are reptiles. What else about Joe? Joe is a musician. He plays the guitar.
He likes spicy food.
He loves spicy food.
I do love spicy food.
And Indian food.
Because he is Indian. Because he is half Indian.
He is half from the India.
All right.
Billy has no wife. Boo hoo hoo.
But Joe wants him to order one from the Ukraine.
And he refuses to order a mail order bride.
Or use dating apps.
Or use dating apps because they feel phony. Still waiting on fate, I guess. Billy also loves spicy food, lives in Atlanta.
And loves to travel.
How about what else? Anything? This is being recorded live on episode 21 of the podcast. Whoop, whoop. Okay. This is a hip hop song. Make it funny and even a tad bit inspirational. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Let's go. Generate. So it'll give us some lyrics first, and we can tweak those if we want. And then when we're ready, we'll generate the song, and then we'll do an activity and come back because it'll take a couple minutes for the song to generate. So right out of the gate, open tabs and neon lights, 2 mics, 2 friends, late night bites.
Ooh, can we spell bites like BYTES for the nod to technology? Not that anybody will know that because...
Joe with the salt and pepper goatee, bald up top with a laugh that breaks free. Yeah, this is looking nice. Pre-chorus. Billy lights the sparks. Joe plays the chords. All right, here's the chorus. Open tabs, open minds, roll the show. Billy and Joe where the hot winds blow. That's weird. What hot winds?
Is it? That sounds flatulent. I think it's because it's in Atlanta. Did you tell him we're in Atlanta?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say remove the part about hot winds.
And use something about Hotlanta.
Nobody uses Hotlanta unless they're not from Atlanta.
Okay, fine.
So remove that part, and I'm just scanning really quick. Everything looks good. Yep. And remind our listeners to subscribe.
And like.
So we'll do that rendition, and that will update our lyrics. Let's make sure it takes out the hot winds part. That's weird. Maybe, I don't know where it was going with that.
Where the hot winds blow.
Yep.
Maybe
the hot wind. I'm from Atlanta where the hot winds blow. What? Strange. Okay. And as it's doing that, we're going to choose. Yep. Okay. So it updated. And now style recommendations. I said hip hop, rock, so it's giving us some suggestions. Let's not do that though. Let's do hip hop. Let's say hip hop.
How about a 90s beat?
90s old school style with some dirty South mixed in. Okay, we'll see if it does anything with that. All right. Create. All right, so we are going to leave that. Here it is generating the audio. We're going to leave that and come back to it. Now, for our little segment while that's generating, I have an activity that's very appropriate for our podcast. This is going to be called Open or Closed Tab. So here's how it goes. I'm going to give us an example, and if you like it, if you're interested, if you would do it or do it again, you're going to say Open Tab. Okay. And if you don't like it, if you're not interested, if you're done with it, if it's a hard no, a hard pass, you're going to say Closed Tab. So Open Tab, yes. Closed Tab, I'm done with it. All right. Fireworks, open tab, closed tab.
Oh, open tab all day long.
Open tab.
Open several tabs.
Although it makes me jumpy. It makes me jumpy because my 2 biggest fears in life are snakes and balloons. Why balloons? Because they're going to pop and make me jump. But as long as I know the fireworks are about to pop, I'm good. AI music, open tab, closed tab.
Hang on. Okay, well, we'll come back to the fireworks thing because we may have to talk about this next week. Now I think about it. Okay, what was it?
AI music that we're doing exactly
remains
right
to be
now.
seen. Remains to be seen. Right now, it's a closed.
I'm going to call it an open tab because I like playing with it. LinkedIn, open tab, closed tab.
I mean, it's like the tab you have to. It's open right now. I have it open right now.
Like a literal open tab.
It's literally open on. I'm not even kidding. I'm staring right at it. It's open.
I don't go on there much, but that's going to change because my company has this thing called Sprout where they would like me to post company approved content as myself to give it more credibility. So I'm like, I'll take a look. TikTok, open or close tab?
I mean, I don't care. Close tab.
It's a closed tab for me. It's a closed tab for me unless somebody sends me a link.
Yeah. The only time I watch a TikTok is if it's on a Facebook reel.
Yeah. And we tried to put some shorts on our TikTok thing, and it didn't put them out to anybody until we gave up like on episode 2.
I do actually have a TikTok, and I did post something on TikTok last week, but I don't know anything more about it than I just posted it on TikTok. That's all I know.
Yeah. We're old fuddy-duddies. Self-checkout at the grocery store. Open tab, close tab.
Open tab. Not always, but
there's a new thing that I saw recently where the actual shopping cart has the technology, and as you put the items into the shopping cart, it rings them up as you go with a display where you're pushing it. And even if you put produce, you put a thing of bananas in there, it weighs it and it gives you a subtotal as you go. Pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy. So I don't know if you know, back in the day, Amazon tried to do this in Seattle, where they had everything was RFID tagged.
Yeah.
And as you walked out the door, it just hit your Amazon account.
But then it didn't last. I don't think
it didn't work right.
Yeah.
It didn't work perfectly. Even the library has this where, I don't know if you've checked out a book in the library in the last 10 years, but you can go stick your library books in a giant stack on the scanner, and it reads the RFID tags in all the library books and checks them out to you. It's really cool.
Now, I saw at a few airports recently where they have a kiosk with no human, and you put all your items in one little square, and it would ring them all up at the same time. It's like self-checkout, but all at the same time. I saw that at Circle K as well.
So they have that at the Athens Rock Lobsters Arena, and it's actually taking a picture of the food on your tray, and then it translates that information into your items on your receipt. And then you
What a trip. What a trip. And yet, with all this technology, we still can't get like voice to text accurate. I'm like talking clearly into my phone, and it's getting all the words wrong.
Oh man! What I found is if the AC is on in my car, and my phone is mounted on the dash, it's open. It knows it cannot. It just doesn't. It doesn't work.
Foldable phones. Open tab, close tab.
I love foldable phones. It's an open tab. I want one so bad, but I can't go away from Apple. Apple, hint. We want foldable phones, okay? We want them. Just do it. I know you're resistant to doing anything that Android did first. Just do it, please. We want our screens to bend.
I like the idea, but I don't know if I'm there yet. It's a semi-open, semi-closed. Reality TV. What do you think? Open tab, close tab?
Close tab. I don't care.
There's one that I wish was still going. It's called Love After Lockup. Have you ever heard of this? Listen to me, man. Like the last 2 seasons sucked, but the first 3 or 4 seasons, I was so hooked. The idea is this. Going into the season, you have each couple, one of them is incarcerated and one is in the free world. And they've somehow met each other while the one is incarcerated. And so their relationship is totally based on letters, phone calls, and maybe some visitation. Nope. And then at the first episode of the season, the half is getting out of prison. And so now they're having their relationship together in person in the free world for the first time. And it just follows them. And some of them get married and some of them break up and some of them you cheat on each. Man, that was good. That was gold. That was gold.
There's one I watched for a while. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this. But I guess I'm not embarrassed. I won't admit to that one, but I'll admit to this one. The idea of Indian matchmaking has always fascinated me.
Mm.
And there's
like where the parents choose.
Yeah. Well, and in the modern culture, there are actually people who are matchmakers, and you hire them, and they have all this whole pool of people who they work with, and they're finding matches based upon astrology and all these different factors that may or may not be relevant, but they're trying to match these people together. The success rate is lower than you would think when you bring Americans into the mix. But when it's a group,
I would imagine.
And by Americans, I mean Indians who are who are born and raised in America.
Yeah.
But when you have, both folks are from India or whatever, it's different. But it was really fascinating to watch, and I can't remember what it's called. India Match? No, that's the website. But it was an interesting video movie, a TV show I watched. They have 2 or 3 seasons, and some of the ones where you thought, oh, these guys are going to make it, and then they don't make it. And some of the ones where you thought, oh, they're never going to make it, because it was all like the hard ones, So it was interesting, very interesting. That whole subject fascinates me. The idea that, my grandparents were in arranged marriage, very, very young when they got married, ended up having, 8 kids and all those things. So
there's one on Netflix called Indian Matchmaking.
That's it. That's the one.
Yep. This hit Netflix series follows Mumbai-based matchmaker Seema Taparia as she travels the globe working directly with the parents and participants to navigate the modern arranged marriage process on Netflix.
Great show.
Cool. Last one, open tab or close tab, pineapple on your pizza.
I don't want to admit this because I know that
just
people are
out with
judge
it, buddy.
Me.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm okay with it. If there's Canadian bacon and if there's onions, there's this place in California called Round Table Pizza.
Mm.
And they have a Maui Zowie pizza, which is like, there's no Spam, thank God, but there's onions and sausage, like, I don't know, Hawaiian sausage, I guess. I don't know. Ham and pineapple. And it is to die for. Sweet and savory, to me, they belong together. And so if you like sweet and savory, you like pineapple on pizza. I don't love tomato sauce as the base. I like it when it's barbecue sauce as the base, but I'll eat it. I like it.
Yeah. Close tab for me. I don't, give it to someone who cares.
No fruit on your pizza.
I mean, I'll eat it if it's handed to me, but I'm not going to order it. All right, let's go check out one of these songs. I'll say one of because it gave us 2 versions of it. So
okay,
these are both going to be the same set of lyrics. So we'll just pick one and run with it and see how it sounds. Like we all made this together. And so let's see how it did just the first pass through.
Open tabs, then neon lights, 2 mics, 2 friends, late night bites.
Let me go back one and try the other version because let's just see what we're.
You don't like it? I love
it. It's okay. Let's just similar.
Neon lights, 2 mics, 2 friends.
Similar. Okay, we'll go with this.
Late night bites. Open tabs. Open tabs. Open tabs and neon lights. Yeah. Joe with a salt and pepper goatee. Balled up top, laughing loud and free. Husband and father, 4 kids in the frame. 48 pets, yeah, we know the name. 14 reptiles, sunning on the mat. Guitar on his knee, he's strumming where it's at. Half from Mindy, Hurry in the Soul.
Hurry in the Soul, I love it.
Yes.
Billy sparks the jokes, Joe lays down the chords. I'm on episode 21. Record story spilling, laughter in the line. 2 friends on the mic, turning moments into rhymes. Open tabs, open minds, roll the show. Billy and Joe where the flavor flows. Open tabs, keep it loud, let it ride. Subscribe and like, come along for the vibe. Billy single player, no wife, no kids. Refuses mail order, rising day and that's kids. Waiting on fate while he packs his bag. Atlanta skyline and the Wanderlust tag. Loves the spicy too, hitting every bite. Travels the map, chasing morning to midnight. No pity party, just a grin and a wink. Still holding hope on the edge of the brink. 2 cups, 2 stories, the night turns gold. Reptile eyes, guitar riffs, tails bald. From family dinners to an empty bed joke, we stitch it together, every line we spoke. Open tabs, open minds, roll the show. Billy and Joe where the flavor flow. Open tabs, keep it loud, let it ride. Subscribe and like, come along for the vibe. Turn the mic up, let the truth unwind. Laugh through the chaos, leave the fear behind. Community growing in the static and light. Open tabs, open hearts, we ignite the night. Live and loud, episode 21. one spark. Tales from the porch and the edges of dark. Spicy tales, travel plans, family lines. Two brothers, a radio flipping everyday signs. Open minds, roll the show. Billy and Joe with a flavor flow. Open tabs, keep it loud, let it ride. Subscribe and like, come along for the vibe.
I think that chorus is our new theme song.
I like it.
Stay a while and smile. The Billy and Joe signing off. See you next mile.
Boom. Look, that's pretty darn impressive for AI.
pretty
One
good.
pass through. We all did it together and it took a matter of minutes. That's all computer generated.
I
And it had a nice hook. I could
did.
listen to that.
Open tabs, open mics. Yeah, no, I like it. We should totally make that our theme song. I'll let you
I
work
like
on
it.
that.
I have a subscription that allows for commercial use too. So
Nice.
might put that on SoundCloud.
I mean, don't get rid of the monkey opening the can of tab. That's my
No. I love the
meta
monkey.
situation.
I love the
But you can get rid of the theme song part. Okay. Last thing tonight. I feel like we've been talking about it. Just time to talk about a sponsor. This one's weird because it's a sponsor that I actually pay for, but they're not sponsoring for real. But it is a sponsor. Tonight's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Premium. For just $39.99 a month, you can unlock the exciting opportunity to network harder than ever before, which is ironic because the people who need LinkedIn Premium the most are usually the same people who just lost their paycheck. But don't worry, Premium lets you see who's viewed your profile, message recruiters who won't message you back, and discover that you're in the top 10% of applicants for a position that's already been filled internally. Because nothing soothes the sting of a layoff quite like 17 recruiters offering you a 6-month contract in a city you've never heard of. LinkedIn Premium, because unemployment is temporary, but subscriptions are for as long as you remember to pay for them or forget that you're paying for them.
Exactly. Woo! Thank you to our sponsor that
It's
we
sad
are going
'cause-
to be subscribing to forever and ever and ever.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I don't have to keep them past the free month, to be honest. I'm just going to be like, that's one of those, like, you get they're like, free month again, and you're like, okay, I'll do it. And then you're just really hoping and praying that you don't have to pay that bill when it comes due.
Yes, indeed. Well, all right. What an episode.
That was fun, man. Okay, so your action items, Billy, you need to change the theme song now. I don't know how you're going to do that or when you're going to do that, but you just made a new
We're
theme
going to
song.
figure out, you know what we might do? We might open the episode with our monkey intro, and we might close the episode with our new theme song. I don't have credits to roll, but we could, something like that.
I think it's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. All right,
Cool.
everybody. Well, thanks so much. As the song says, please subscribe and like. Feel free to send us a comment or a note. OpenTabsPC.com will take you straight to our beautiful Open Tabs podcast YouTube channel. And we would love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, hit that little notification bell. That's what the other YouTube videos tell me to tell you. Hit that little notification bell so you know when we post something cool.
Yep. And hype the video on YouTube. Yes, you'll see that. Hype the video if you like it. If you don't, hype it anyways.
I don't know what that means, but I'm old, so it's fine.
They do.
All right, hype it.
So long, everybody.
Open tabs. A neon lights, 2 mics, 2 friends. Late night bites. Open tabs. Open tabs. Open tabs and neon lights. Yeah. Joe with a salt and pepper goatee. Balled up top, laughing loud and free. Husband and father, 4 kids in the frame. 48 pets, yeah, we know the name. 14 reptiles, sunning on the mat. Guitar on his knee, he's strumming where it's at. Half from India, curry in the soul. Loves it spicy, turns the heat up on the road. Billy sparks the jokes, Joe lays down the chords. I'm on episode 21. Record, story spilling, laughter in the line. 2 friends on the mic, turning moments into rhymes. Open tabs, open minds, roll the show. Billy and Joe where the flavor flows. Open tabs, keep it loud, let it ride. Subscribe and like, come along for the vibe. Billy single player, no wife, with no kids. Refuses mail order brides and dating app skids. Waiting on fate while he packs his bag. Atlanta skyline and the wanderlust tag. Loves the spicy too, hitting every bite. Travels the map, chasing morning to midnight. No pity party, just a grin and a wink. Still holding hope on the edge of the brink. 2 cups, 2 stories, the night turns gold. Reptile eyes, guitar riffs, tails ball. From family dinners to an empty bed joke, we stitch it together, every line we spoke. Open tabs, open minds, roll the show. Billy and Joe, where the flavor flow. Open tabs, keep it loud, let it ride. Subscribe and like, come along for the vibe. Turn the mic up, let the truth unwind. Laugh through the chaos, leave the fear behind. Community growing in the static and light. Open tabs, open hearts, we ignite the night. Live and loud, episode 21 spark. Tales from the porch and the edges of dark. Spicy tales, travel plans, family lines. 2 brothers of radio flipping everyday signs. Open tabs, open minds, roll the show. Billy and Joe, where the flavor flow. Open tabs, keep it loud, let it ride. Subscribe and like, come along for the vibe. Open